see the sunset, the day is ending.
Death Stranding spends a lot of its hours carrying you from hub city to hub city as you extend this version of America's internet connection known in-game as the chiral network. But woven in between all of these travels is an intricate story that doesn't quite always make the most sense. And fittingly, there's a lot about the ending and its hours-long cutscenes that might need some explaining, so here it is. Death Stranding's ending explained, to the best of our abilities. The beginning of the end, so to speak, starts with a series of boss fights, the first of which is a building-sized, goopy, anthropomorphic BT Higgs rides atop, with Amelie stuck to it with a wad of chiral gunk. Higgs escapes following the defeat of his BT mount, and Sam must travel to the beach to meet him mano-a-mano, Metal Gear Solid-style boss fight. This fight is loaded with references to video games, including Street Fighter-style health bars and a shout-out to Nintendo's flagship franchise.
So I'm Mario and you're Princess Peach.
After Higgs' final defeat, which we'll go into more later, Sam then treks back across the entire UCA and encounters a vortex above Lake Knot City that warps him to a Vietnam battlefield. Here, Cliff Unger continues his frantic hunt for BB. Unbeknownst to him, he finds BB, but BB is no longer a child. Again, more on that later. As Sam concludes his cross-country chiral network hike, he runs into one final BT boss, a giant flying whale. Like most of us, this whale is weak to rocket launchers. After all of this, much of what remains to be seen in Death Stranding is just that, stuff you can see but not play. Yes, there are many hours of cutscenes to come in episodes 13 and 14, and here come the twists. Death Stranding does a good job of setting you up for the actual big reveal. Amelie and Bridget are actually one person, and together they're actually an extinction entity. The suspicion around Amelie's existence comes up when Die Hardman is invited to her beach. He pre-records a video to point out how odd it is that no one's ever seen her corporeal physical form. The Amelie as we know her is a projection of her Ka, or her soul, that's trapped on the beach. Bridget, the older-looking Amelie who leads as President of America until her death in the opening acts, is actually the Ha, or body, to Amelie's Ka. Amelie, and Bridget for that matter, are actually one and the same, and the larger role they play in the universe is the inevitable destruction of life on Earth. This would be the 6th mass extinction event to date and the biggest. The Extinction Entity plans to make this one the last, even referring to it as a Big Bang. So, turns out Amelie lied to Sam, but maybe not for the worst reasons. While Sam believed he was carrying out official presidential orders to connect the United States to the chiral network and bring about a better understanding of the Death Stranding, and therefore potentially a solution to surviving it, it turns out he was actually making it easier than ever to set off an extinction event. And Amelie herself is the extinction entity who will invariably, unavoidably end all human life, and lots of other life as well. Yes, those mules are people too. Amelie decided that instead of waiting for thousands more years, she'd escalate the fulfillment of her role in the universe and execute on her plan for one final extinction, this time including humans, and get to spend a little more time with you too. As Sam connected the chiral network, he also connected everyone's beach to Amelie's, which allows her to bring the destruction brewing on her beach to Earth and maybe beyond. It's unclear exactly how big this bang actually is. You, the player, are given control back briefly, and Sam is given a revolver by Amelie along with a message. A gun won't help here, but it still has a role to play. And a choice. Either watch the world end and stay with her, or stop the impending apocalypse by cutting her beach off from others' beaches. You can shoot her, but the bullets have no effect. If you wait too long, either not shooting or just firing the gun every which way, all you'll bring about is the end of the world and a game over screen. However, you can also holster your gun. This allows Sam to give Amelie a hug, reminding her of the connection she shares with Sam and his love and his need to survive, and also see the rest of humanity survive as well. However, this also traps Sam on Amelie's beach alone. As the first of 3 sets of the credits roll, Sam is stranded alone. We'll get back to that in just a bit. So if Amelie's intent was to bring about another extinction event, then it tracks that Higgs was working for her all along. Higgs, ever the self-serving baddie, initially took advantage of Fragile's unique ability to transport between locations using her beach. Higgs and Fragile were partners and made deliveries together. But Higgs was eventually seduced away from Fragile by Amelie's superior power as the extinction entity who could manipulate BTs. According to a journal entry, Amelie gave Higgs a bridge baby and the ability to control things like BTs and timefall. As he put it, he is no longer just a delivery man, but instead a herald for Amelie and her new world. After Sam's showdown with Higgs, Higgs is defeated and Fragile is finally given the opportunity to kill him. Fragile is unable to kill Higgs in the end because, in her words that Sam repeats back to her, she fixes things, she doesn't break them. Instead, Fragile gives Higgs a choice between death or eternity on the beach. It's never said out loud, but judging from the gunshots heard back on the beach, we have to assume Higgs chose death. Anyway, back to Sam. After saving humanity, he's trapped on the beach, listening to Amelie as she appears in moments to explain who she is and what the Death Stranding is. At the end of a series of these explanations, Sam is rescued by Deadman and the others. At first, Heartman and Mama/Lockney jump to different beaches in search of Sam with no results. The team then tried using President Strand's umbilical cord. Unfortunately, President Strand had already cut her beach loose, rendering her umbilical cord useless. Ultimately, it was Die Hardman's revolver, the gun that was used to kill Cliff Unger and Sam, as the young BB in a pod, I swear we'll get to that in a second, that led the team to Sam. Before Die Hardman traveled to Amelie's beach, he loaded his revolver with hematic rounds made from Sam's blood, thus connecting the gun to all parties. That part to play that Amelie referred to above is revealed to be a connection to Sam the team uses to pull him from Amelie's beach. When the team contacts Sam to retrieve him, 5 figures appear in the sky above the beach. These 5 figures appeared in the very first Death Stranding trailer. We have 2 competing theories on who these figures in the sky are. They could be manifestations of Deadman, Heartman, Fragile, Mama/Lockney, and Die Hardman as they break through to the beach to reach Sam, but they could also be representations of the 5 previous extinction entities. In any case, whoever these mysterious floating figures are, Sam's friends couldn't have shown up soon enough. It took them a whole month in Earth time to find him on what turns out to be his own beach.
Oh God. Not BB2.
In a panic, having certainly not intended on killing BB, Amelie rushes to the beach and revives BB, thereby giving renewed life to who eventually becomes Sam and explains his ability to repatriate from death. So backing things way up, Sam was born to Cliff and Lisa and was the first baby to be in the UCA's highly secretive BB program. The reason Sam gets flashbacks of Cliff throughout the game as he connects to his BB pod is perhaps because of Sam and Cliff's connection as father and son, and not, as we initially were led to believe, because of any connection between him and Lou. Cliff Unger is Sam's father, and the connections he felt toward BB in those boss levels, scattered between World War I, World War II, and Vietnam, were actually a connection to Sam and not Sam's own BB, Lou. And it turns out those crazy storms that suck Sam into various war zones were actually the setting of Clifford Unger's personal beaches. The war zones are a specialized form of beach that seem to have adapted from Clifford's personal history as a soldier. But anyway, when Cliff finds out they're going to take Sam away from him to be used as a tool, Cliff attempts to escape the facility with the help of Die Hardman. Way back before he was the director, Die Hardman was a soldier under Unger's command. He got his name because, though Unger led him into battle many times, Unger never let him die. His connection to Unger and Unger's wife Lisa, BB's mother, is that of an ultra-loyal friend and soldier. It's why he attempts to protect him without disobeying direct orders after President Strand decrees she'd be taking BB away from Unger to carry out her plans to bring on the extinction event sooner than natural events would allow for. Although he spares Unger several more seconds and moments with BB, ultimately President Strand grabs the gun with Die Hardman's finger still on the trigger and forces him to pull it, killing both Unger and BB simultaneously. Sam is then sent to the beach where Amelie heals him, and this is where he gains his dooms and repatriate abilities. He's never told any of this and grows up thinking that Amelie is his sister and President Strand is his mother. The revolver given to Sam by Amelie belonged to a young Die Hardman, while Clifford Unger was in captivity with his wife and BB. Die Hardman gives the gun to Clifford to assist in his escape. Clifford uses the gun to kill his wife, then makes his escape attempt. When Clifford is caught, despite all of Die Hardman's efforts to aid him in his escape, he is killed by this revolver. Although Die Hardman is holding the weapon, the trigger is pulled by Bridget Strand as she reaches from behind, and a bullet strikes the BB as well. Sam is given Die Hardman's revolver by Amelie shortly before the world-saving hug. After the hug, Sam is stranded on a beach by himself and, thinking he'll be trapped there for eternity, puts the revolver to his head and pulls the trigger. Nothing happens. Shortly after that, his friends use the revolver to find him and retrieve him. This explains the role to play that Amelie cryptically mentioned when she gave the revolver to Sam.
The name is unimportant, but you know who I mean.
So when all that is said and done, having returned to the land of the living, Sam settles back into a private room and Deadman informs him BB has sadly passed away. It's only a matter of time before necrosis settles in, so similar to Sam's first main mission, Sam's final mission is to transport BB to the incinerator. Deadman unhooks his data-linked cuffs and lets him know that if he removes them, he'll be off the UCA's radar. Deadman not so subtly suggests that taking Lou out of the pod to see if he can survive is directly against orders, but that his location and actions won't be recorded with the cufflinks off. Sam briefly sets BB down for incineration, but immediately scoops him back up, takes him out of the pod, and desperately attempts to revive him as a BT cord seems to appear around his navel. Fortunately, one heroic hug later, Lou is back to life, setting the two of them up to live happily ever after. Also, Lou is a female and Sam names her Louise. So when you've carried out all your remaining duties, including bringing Luis into real life, the game reverts to 2 weeks before the presidential inauguration. In this endless postgame, you can use and build structures, make side quest deliveries, fight BTs and mules, and a few other open world activities. Lou is available as your BB, Fragile can help you fast travel, and the world is generally back to the way it was before. Whew! And that's it. What did you think of Kojima's latest mind-bending story? Did everything come together in a way that made sense, or is it all just artsy-fartsy nonsense? Make sure to shout out in the comments below, and of course, for much, much more on Death Stranding, keep it right here on IGN. Dear God.